Now it's time to introduce our next speaker. You already know who it is. It was flashed on the screen. Mr. Rajesh Shrivastava has over 3 decades of corporate and academic experience. At United Spirits, he played a significant role in creating some of India's most recognized and enduring alcohol brands, including McDowell's Signature, Royal Challenge, Bagpiper, and Blue Ribbon Duet. He is also the former president of J.K. Helene Curtis, where he re-energized the deodorant category by relaunching Park Avenue deodorant as a perfume. Since 2008, he has been teaching and conducting corporate workshops. As an educator, he has taught at IIM Indore and SP Jain School of Global Management. As a corporate trainer, he has worked with prestigious companies like Siemens India, Mercedes-Benz Research Center, and Reliance Industries, amongst others, to educate the gathering on key essential skills to help one transform oneself and their company. Please welcome Mr. Rajesh Shrivastava.
Thank you, sir. Oh.
Your premiere? Okay.
Thank you, Anand, for inviting. And I again want to acknowledge a student of mine who recommended my name, and that is Vignesh, who is sitting here. I just want to share a small thing. Whatever we do in life, we must do as if your life depends on it. So when I was teaching Vignesh, every single session I took in their school, I did it with a passion, as if that was the last lecture I would give in my life, and as if that was the most important room in the whole world, more important than even the White House, and I gave everything. It's been 10 years, I guess, since I taught him, but when an opportunity came, he recommended my name, and I think that is the essence of how we should do our work. Every single thing that we do, every single moment that we have with us, we should assume that that is the last day of our life, and we should work as if our life depends on it. So with that, friends, let me say I work with alcohol, so the time is coming closer to this drink, yeah, in high spirits. So I would just like to share with you a brief background, what makes me or what makes me capable of standing in front of you. Part of it has been read, but I'll give you a visual description of what I have done in life. So many of you would have had the pleasure of having this. The year was 1991, and I had the privilege of naming this brand McDowell Signature. The first thing that I wish to say is the name that was there was not McDowell Signature, it was McDowell Old. That is what the company had decided. O-L-D-E, E with apostrophe, Shakespeare style. So when my boss told me it's McDowell Old, I looked at him and I said, sir, it won't work. Why? Because when the brand goes into the interiors of Bharat, people will not know that O-L-D-E is silent, they will call it Oldie. And once the brand name gets corrupted, then the brand dies. And then I came out with McDowell Signature using creativity. So what is the first lesson? We all have bosses, but the boss is not always right. And it is our job to process the information and give, like a doctor, what we think is right. The second information is Royal Challenge. Mr. Kamble, I did this year in design. I did this with Design Bridge. And the concept that you have to remember is, this is just not packaging. This is not just packaging. It is a strategy pack done in the year 2000. And it was done based on consumer insight. What is consumer insight? And this is something that you should never forget. Consumer insight is, in the year 2000, Scotch whiskey had not really come into India, and Royal Challenge was Scotch at Indian prices. And if you went into interiors of India, the way in Bombay Gym people ordered Johnny Walker Red Label with pride, in Amritsar they would say RC with pride. So the brief to the agency is, Royal Challenge is Scotch at Indian prices. Second insight is very simple, that in India, For good reason or bad reason, they call alcohol brands in short form, so they called it RC. The third insight is, how do you build brands for a category that you can't advertise? So we held millions of events, and whenever we held events, we put the Royal Challenge logo there. So we came out with this device which is called RC. Whenever we had event, we thought we'll just take that RC out, this particular thing out, and it would become an RC event. 8 years later, when IPL came, this was taken out and put on the jerseys, and it became an RC event. Royal Challenge never looked back. And of course, working in alcohol has many advantages. You get to meet many such people, but don't join for meeting them, join because you want to entertain people. The third is this. Please remember, the year was 1991. India had still not liberalized, but we came out with a dream which said we will make Bagpiper not just India's largest but the world's largest. And we put it right at the bottom. भारत का सबसे ज़्यादा बिकने वाला whiskey अब दुनिया में number 15. Why did we put it? The year is 1991. We put it there and publicly declared our intention कि हमको number 1 बनना है. We want to become number 1. Why did we do that? Social shame. Whatever dreams you have, make a public declaration. Now there is a magazine called Impact International which gives you a rating of the world's great brands and the sales volume. We were putting the data from there. We told our guys, please put this poster. Retailer in the afternoon will read this and ask you, why are you putting number 15 there? And we will say our intention is to be number 1. And now if we don't work hard and it becomes 22, the retailer will laugh at us. For fear of public shame, we all worked hard and made it India's world's number 1 as well. What is the lesson for you? If 91 we could dream of world's number 1, why can't we sitting here dream of number 1 and making that intention public? The third is, we were the first people in this country who came out with a premix category. Today the world is full of it. Again, what was said by Mr. Kambli was reimagination. We pushed the boundaries. And again, there's a problem solution where time is short, otherwise I would have got into this. And then of course, here again is a consumer insight. This is one brand, there may be people from Tata sitting here, but this was one brand that came and almost dislodged Tata Salt from the number 1 category. You will say, how can you prove it? Mahatma Gandhi. What did Mahatma Gandhi say? First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and finally they accept. So when we came out with this brand, we were ignored. After we were ignored, they laughed at us. There was an ad, you might remember, Captain Upton ka mat suno, desh ka namak khao. Then they lodged a in ASCII, Advertising Standard Council, that they are making false claims, and finally the brand got picked up by a multinational company, right? Then comes deodorant category. Again, Mr. Kambli, just building on your thing of imagination and reimagination. I was the first person. The size of deodorant category in India in the year 2002 was 66 crore. Today it is more than 7,000 crores. And the idea is very simple. I said, I will not sell deo, I'll sell perfume. No to deo, yes to perfume. A simple idea using imagination, data, something that we will talk about. Today there is no deodorant brand that can sell unless it says, I am perfume. That idea was mine. And how much money did it require? Zero. But what it required was consumer insight, passion to solve people's problem, customer experience. And then at this point I left my corporate career to give back and share my knowledge, and that's where I came in touch with Vignesh. I was teaching in SP Jain School of Global Management at IIM Indore and doing training programs. So this is for Siemens. Anyone from Siemens here? They have a program called CORE, where internally they identify 29 people every year who are their future leaders. I did for 4 years till before COVID, teaching them about 21st century skills. And then of course at Reliance, at IE Business School, and Mercedes-Benz. These are some of the companies, and other companies where I have done programs are these. And then as luck would happen, discovering needle in a haystack, Penguin discovered me. I was a needle in a haystack, they discovered me. And just before COVID, my book was released, and I just want to say, whatever you do it with a passion. And people ask, who did you write this book for? I said, for nobody, I wrote it for myself, believing that if I fall in love with my content, there will be enough people with my sensibilities who will fall in love. People did fall in love. It became a national bestseller, and as we sit here, it has been longlisted for the C.K. Prahlad Best Business Book of the Year. The results will be out on 16th, and I hope I win it. I put my heart and soul into it. And now I have written my second book, again alcohol. So the first book is if you want to prepare your business for the future, New Rules of Business, and if you want to prepare yourself for the future, then you have to read the book which is with you, right? So let's get down, and we'll make it interactive. So what is the biggest problem that you think we are facing today? Whether it's in manufacturing, in business, what is that has really changed? There are many things that would have changed, but what do you think would have changed a lot? Versatility. And what has led to the versatility? The largeness of the market or the versatility of the market? What is the key issue? Consumer insight. What is one of the biggest thing? Technology is there. Because of technology, what has happened? What has happened? Technology, whenever technology collides with any industry, it disrupts that industry, and that is what is happening. But what has happened? What has happened is, I'll just take automobile as an example. For 5,000 years, humankind actually transported itself using horses. So the horses became stronger, faster, they did all kinds of things. And then comes 1900, beginning, IC engine. That continued to dominate for roughly about 100 or 70 to 80 odd years. Then comes electric vehicle. Even before electric vehicle can actually get its footing right, what has happened? Nitrogen fuel cell cars have come in, and there are 3 other cars waiting. What do you see here? The rate of change has accelerated to an extent that is unimaginable. Even before your new product is got its feet in the market, a new version or a better version would come, and you would be actually displaced out. And what Jack Welch has said, if the pace of change outside is greater than the pace of change inside your organization, then you are in serious trouble. So the first question that you have to ask is the pace of change in your organization more than what's happening in the market? Then you are safe. And that brings me to what I have to discuss with you. So that question only you can answer, and you can ask me, wherever you have worked, have you made your organization come out with changes which were more than the market and the market followed you? And you can please ask me, because it's very easy to tell you, you do it, but you ask me, have you done it? Please. And you can take the industry that I mentioned there, and I can share with you examples which is a part of your life to say that it is you who can drive the change and you can drive the market. If a person like me can do it, you can. So what are the skills required to do that? And that is what I'm going to share with you. Now, Vignesh is here from World Economic Forum. What are the changes that are driving? Let me quickly share with you. The world till now has seen 3 industrial revolutions. Industry 1 IR, 2 IR, 3 IR. What were the defining characteristics of these 3 industrial revolutions? The 3 industrial revolution created 2 types of jobs, blue collar jobs and white collar jobs. I grew up in that blue and white collar industry. I worked with alcoholic beverages and all this that you saw. And what was the key characteristic of that? Don't question authority, follow orders, and Please do not deviate from time tested systems and processes. These were the 3 characteristics. Don't question authority. Follow, don't question me, and follow the time tested systems and process. But the 4th IR is upon us, which is now being called as Industry 4.0. What is the characteristic of Industry 4.0? And one characteristic that I picked out and just labeled it, that's my contribution, I'm saying it is creating green collar jobs. What are green collar jobs? Green collar jobs are those jobs which expect you to think, reflect and act. Think, reflect and act, which was not the case earlier. Boss told, we did. Now this concept is called distributed leadership, where each one of us is a leader in our own rights. We have to think, reflect and act. And if we have to think, reflect and act, then what skills do we require? What skills do we require? And this is the question that World Economic Forum and McKinsey have applied themselves to. And what have they done? In various permutation combination, and they keep on updating the thing, they have come out, World Economic Forum, with certain skills that are required. McKinsey has come out with it. So let me first tell you about what McKinsey has said about Industry 4.0 and its impact on us. It has said that some jobs will disappear. Some jobs will disappear. New jobs will be born, but every single job will change. That's McKinsey and company. World Economic Forum has made a similar prediction, and the biggest problem that we all face sitting here and people who you lead is Industry 4.0 is not completely formed. If the industry is not completely formed, then the nature of job is still not completely formed. So how will you prepare for an industry that is not entirely formed? And that is the question World Economic Forum has said, that if you have these 10 skills, and there are some other, this is what I have identified through my experience, that in Industry 4.0, technical skills aside, that you require, but these are the soft skills that if you don't have, it will be like using rotary phone in an era of smartphone. You will communicate, but inefficiently. And if you have the skill, Mr. Kambli's word will come to your rescue. You will be able to imagine, you will be able to reimagine, re-energize using these skills. And here, before I start, someone can ask me, are these new skills? Of course not. These skills are like virtues, like honesty and truth. They have been there as long as business was done. Then you will ask, then why are you saying new skills? The answer is very simple, my friend. Till the era, let's take some of the people we admire, industrialists, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, the one, Elon Musk you did not mention, I'm just mentioning Jeff Bezos, Ratan Tata, JRD Tata, Dhirubhai Ambani. All these industry leaders, let's start with Henry Ford. What did they do? They had all these skills. They had all these skills not in good measure, but in substantial and holistically they had all these skills. What did these industry leaders do? Using this skill, they came out with a vision, mission and a strategy for the companies that they set up. Henry Ford, manufacturing, using all this skill he came out. Steve Jobs, using all this skill, he came out with Apple. Elon Musk, using all this skill. So let's go back to Henry Ford. All these, and Dhirubhai Ambani, using this skill, he came out with this concept of reliance, mission, vision and strategy. And once he had it, he told rest of us, Abhi come, now start working and don't apply your mind because we have done the thinking for you. But in Industry 4.0, no one can do the thinking for us. We are our Dhirubhai Ambani, we are the Steve Jobs of the job that we do. And if they required that job, Steve Jobs required it to make Apple, today we are the Steve Jobs of the job we do, we require these skills. In absence of this skill, we will be at a disadvantage which you cannot imagine. And one more thing before I proceed ahead, it's not only important for you, but it is important for your children. You may get away with life, but your children can't. It's like alphabets. If you don't understand the skill, your children, you will be at a disadvantage. So let's get down to the skill and let's see what it is. These are your life-saving skills. So let's start with this. Some of the ideas that Mr. Kamli was talking about which changed the world, one of them was assembly line, right? It changed the world, right? Where did the idea of assembly line come from? Sorry? Yeah, Henry Ford got it, but where did Mr. Ford get the idea from? From the, okay. Anybody else? Where did Henry Ford get this idea from? So your name? Oh, Nitin, you have 16-digit alpha numerical code and now you know the answers. So here is Nitin, I think he is. So where did, and you are right, Nitin, and where did Henry Ford go? And this is where all of you have to remember, wherever you go, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for you to get the best ideas. There are no new ideas, only recycled ideas like Apple. So what happened? Henry Ford was visiting a meat packaging factory. What did he find? He found a simple thing. He found one side the carcass was hanging. As the carcass moved, on either side people removed the parts, removed the parts, removed the part, and when it came here only the skeleton and the throwaways was left. He looked at this guy and said, man, you've given me the idea of a lifetime, and he intelligently adopted this idea. What did he do? He started with a skeleton, and as it moved, the whole car got formed. What was the result? The cost, the time for manufacturing came down and the cost fell so that everybody could afford a car. And it revolutionized the way we transport ourselves. So what is creativity? What did he do? He imported the idea and intelligently adapted it to car production. So what is creativity? Creativity is a learned skill which is activated when traditional thinking, within the box thinking is bypassed and Mr. Kamble, and imagination is allowed to wander freely to import, combine and connect, combine and connect ideas in new and imaginative ways to come up with big ideas. Look at yourself. Are you being creative? There is creativity all around you. Have you tried to get the best ideas from outside your industry? And let me tell you this, whichever industry you work in, efficiency and effectiveness is to the core. You can't make an improvement. The only way you can make an improvement is change the rules of the game by importing the best ideas from outside your industry, like Henry Ford did. Second question for you. We all talked about innovation. Innovation is important to you, and we sit here in this forum. What do you think is one of the most important innovation of the times that we live in? Sorry, sir? Say that again, Nitin. Electric bulb is not really. Why is innovation important? Meaning, what is the most important innovation of the time that we live in? The most important innovation of that time. Mobile. Oh no, mobile is a device. I'm talking about innovation. There are 16 types of innovation. Which is the most important or one first among equal today? Information is, please remember, data, information, knowledge and wisdom. So even when you talk about information, it's way down. Data and information is of no use. That's commodity. Communication does not solve a problem. Innovation is not communication. That is storytelling. So can I just, yes sir. Automotive is a product. It's like a smartphone. It has changed our life, but that is not innovation. Innovation is what Steve Jobs did. So can I just share with you, there are 16 types of innovation. I'm just touching on one because of the theme of this organization. One of the most important thing is circular innovation. I think Mr. Kamble spoke a lot about it when he gave you all those examples. I remember one of the largest manufacturer of one of the largest manufacturer of automobile vehicles. I had the privilege of meeting that gentleman. The year was 2009, and I asked him, and I think I must have shared this with Vignesh in the classroom. I asked him, what is the recycled component in your car? And he said, none. He said, does that concern you? He says, it's not an issue at all in India, so why should I be concerned? But today, it's a game changer. Let me tell you, give you this example. If these two are the same products, this is say 50 rupees, this is 50 rupees, and I ask you to buy, you will say, I don't know, I can buy either one. But if I tell you this is 50 rupees, this is 50 rupees, both are identical, but this has 60% recycled component and this is virgin, which one will you buy? A or B? A, right? Why? Because we are all conscious, and we are all conscious not because of us, because of our children. Today, our children say, don't burst Diwali crackers. We say, nahi, humko karna hai. Our children are more environmental conscious, and they are the future market for you. And there are 14 other types of innovation that we can talk about, but shortage of time. Now, in your manufacturing plant, what is the recycled component? Are you highlighting it? Are you using it as a differentiator? And let me go back to this example. A and B. What is the big idea about businesses? You want to command a price premium. You want to command brand loyalty. You want word of mouth buzz. This is virgin. Mine, manufacture, use, throw. This is mine, manufacture, reuse. This is priced at 50 rupees. I can price this at 60 rupees and people will buy that. Why? Example. Prius. Prius is same as Corolla, but in India it is priced 10 lakh rupees more. Why? Because when I drive a Pyrus, I am making a statement to you that I care about my planet. Today people, what is it? People, planet and profit. So what is your recycled component? Are you highlighting it? Are you commanding a price premium? Are you creating a buzz around it? If not, you are missing the biggest trick of your life. Third question. What is innovation? And Mr. Kamli, I'll just take it up. Apple is not a creative organization, never was, will never be. Agree or disagree? Every single idea it has, it's a recycled idea. iPhone is not Apple's creation. In 1960s, IBM had created the first smartphone. Closer to 1990s, Nokia had come out with a smartphone with a single button. They killed this idea to save their past investment. None of the Apple ideas are creative. And if you read Steve Jobs' biography, you will find that when he went to Xerox Center in California, it was like Alibaba's den. He says, these guys have got so many ideas, but they only had ideas, which means they were creative. What is the difference between creativity and innovation? Creativity is like Xerox. They just have great ideas. They have creative ideas. And what is innovation? Taking those creative ideas and executing it to make profit. Commercializing it. Then you will say, oh, is innovation always burdened with making profit? No. Business innovation is burdened with making profit. Social innovation is not burdened with making profit. But here we are all from business. Now, if you have a creative idea and you keep it, you will become the Xerox. But if you have a creative idea, no matter whose idea it is, and if you execute it and it delivers money, then you will become the next Apple. Now ask yourself this question. Are you creative? Are you innovative? If you are just creative, no use, but that's the starting point for being innovative. Third question, this man. What sets him apart? What sets Elon Musk apart? Sorry? Risk taking. I think risk taking is in everything. I was seeing this film, we just got Sony Live. So I was seeing Harshad Mehta, which many of you would have seen. उसने क्या बोला? Risk है तो इश्क है. In small, later on, when he was asked, do small business, don't do big business, what did he say? In every business there is risk. So why only attribute that to Elon Musk? What do you think is one of the most important characteristics of Elon Musk? Strategical thinking. Can you have strategy thinking has been there since ages. You think your company does not have strategy thinking? There is. But what sets him apart? It's not strategic thinking. And one term that I would use is called critical thinking. And what is critical thinking? He is the person who challenged the tradition, norms and assumptions of automobile. What was the prevailing assumptions, norms and tradition that if automobile move, they will pollute the environment? Isn't it? They were all IC based. And what did this man say? That I challenge this tradition, I challenge this norm, I challenge this assumption. I challenge assumption, tradition and norm and tell you that you can be transported and you don't need to pollute the environment, which means I want to offer you clean transportation. And Elon Musk represents what is the most important skill, which is called critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Questioning tradition, norms and assumptions of the time of the past. It's every single organization which has, every single person or organization which has questioned the tradition, prevailing norms and prevailing assumption is the guy who has moved ahead and rest of us have followed. Now let's come to us. In our organization, do we question the tradition or we say this is the way it is done, so we will continue to do it? You know why business plans fail? It's not because the plans are bad, it's the assumptions that go wrong. Am I resonating with you? The assumptions based on which you make your business plans, they actually go wrong. And norms. Have you tested those norms? Have you questioned those norms? And each one of you, as you sit here, you have to transform into a good critical thinker which will question assumption, tradition and norms, not for the sake of questioning them, but the sake of improving them. Improvement is not radical, it could be incremental. And if you don't question tradition, norms and assumption, then you will remain where you are and people who do it will move ahead and you will be forced to follow them. So why be a follower? Why can't you be a leader? Ask yourself that next question. So critical thinking is what? Critical thinkers challenge tradition, question assumptions and defy norms. They reason through logic, filter out biases, possess diversity of thoughts and do not fall victim to heuristic. Heuristic is rule of thumb. Shortcuts. This enables them to arrive at better judgment, think deeply and become skilled problem solvers. The next question for you. Hey, Mr. Kambli, let me just go back here. Why do you think Apple is such a great company? I mean, why did Apple become a world's most valuable company? Let's leave Apple apart. Amazon, one of the top 5 valuable companies. Why is Amazon one of the 5 most valuable company? Apple touches our life, Amazon touches our life. Why? Their obsession to customer, right? Both of them. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir, please. They give superior results. So everything is customer. But please remember, you cannot have, that one approach that customer is the buzzword. And can I just tell you, can I just ask a question to both of you? My objective is to make my customers happy. Agree, disagree, or can't say? Tell me. You have not seen your customer. Which business are you in? In manufacturing, have you not gone out and seen your customer or spent time with them?
I do, but not to the.
No, but the question is that you should, right? My job is to make my customers happy. Agree, disagree, can't say. Agree? Ask me. Ask me. Shareholders. Ask me. To me, my customer and shareholders are important, but not the most important thing. The reason is why? The reason is we are in the experience economy. We are not in the product economy. We are not in the service economy. We are in the experience economy. In experience economy, who delivers the experience? Customer. Customer ko to you give experience. The employees. If employees are delivering experience to your customer, an unhappy employee will make customers unhappy. When customers are unhappy, they will give you business or not give you business. Then, right? Employees first. Are you with me? Unhappy employees will make defective products. Have you seen those Domino's videos where somebody is doing something very dirty? Unhappy employee. Are you with me on that? So let's come to Apple. And it's not a cookie cutter approach. Everybody is customer, customer, customer. No, my friend, no. Don't have that cookie cutter approach. Customer experience, customer experience. Yes, that's the final delivery point, but how do you arrive at that? Can I just talk about Apple? And then let's come to you. The first thing that Apple did from that time, and this is my contribution, and I call it one central question. That's my contribution to the world. Every single great company, and you can take, you can check me on that, is run on one central question. If you worked for Apple in Steve Jobs' era, and you went to Steve Jobs and said, "Hey Steve, I've got an idea." He says, "What kind of an idea?" "Oh Steve, it will actually double the profit of Apple." He'll tell you, just get the hell out. We are not in the business of doubling profit for Apple. We are in the business of making Apple a great product. So if you have any idea, any suggestion of how to make Apple a great product, please stay here. Otherwise, get the hell out of this room. He was obsessed with only one thing, not making profit for Apple, but making Apple such a great product that when it delivered you an experience, it was so good that you never went anywhere else. And based on this one central question, Steve Jobs and everybody down, everybody laterally took only one decision. Will this make Apple a great product? If it did, let's green light. If it did not, let's not. And what happened eventually? The product became so good that we fell hopelessly in love. And when we fell hopelessly in love, when you are in love, do you look at the price? No. I think we are all grown up, but I teach at SP Jain and I am Indore. And when I ask the student, when you fall in love, then what happens? Sir, we spend recklessly on our girlfriend. And when do you fall out of love? It takes 3 years. And when you fall out of love, then what happens? You realize how much money you had spent on her. By that time, Apple gives you a new girlfriend. iPhone 14, the new girlfriend is coming. Now let's come to Amazon. What is the one central question you think Jeff Bezos may have had, based on which he runs Amazon when he was in charge? Yes, sir? What do you think is that one? I will propose my question. I don't know whether he did it, but I think he did. What is that one central question based on which he ran Amazon? Timely delivery. Delivery is a feature. Never run your business on a feature. Never. You will always get defeated. Everything under one roof. Sir, it's again a feature. Just in time is a feature. Just in time is like the same thing that our colleague just mentioned. Can I just share with you my thing, because I have just 1 hour? And the answer, I'm sorry, but the answer is, if you went to Jeff Bezos, he will only ask you one simple question. Will it reduce the friction in the shopping process and improve shopping experience? If the answer is yes, please stay on, otherwise get the hell out, man. And where is profit coming in here? Because when you do it, all this, when you reduce the friction in the shopping process, customer experience will improve. And once customer experience improves, then what happens? Your brain, you know how you store information, it's psychology. In brain, when I say mother, what are the words that come to our mind? Mother means woman, affection, love, home food. So every word that we have in our brain is associated with certain key terms. When you have a great experience, then what happens? Amazon means good experience. Human beings are selfish. Next time they want to shop, do you want a bad experience or good experience? Good experience, so you go back to Amazon. That's how brand loyalty is built. So this is called framing the right question. What is the problem in my country? I'm a proud Indian. The problem in my country is that in the education system, right up till wherever, even in IIT, I did from IIT Kanpur and IIM Bangalore, they never taught us how to frame the right question. The professor gave us the question, we were expected to answer. But in the business, the world that I entered, we were never given answers. We were only faced with question. We did not know how to frame it. And what did Einstein say? If I had to solve a problem in 60 minutes and my life depended on solving that problem in 60 minutes, otherwise I'll be dead, I will spend 55 minutes in framing the right question, because when the question is framed right, the answer is obvious. This is not me, that's Professor Einstein. What is the lesson for you? When faced with a problem, do you jump into getting a solution, or do you spend time, quality time, lot of time in framing the right question? If you don't spend time in framing the right question, and that's what I've seen in my country. Sales is not happening. Instead of finding out why sales is not happening, okay, take this discount, go and sell. Sir, sale is not happening. Why? Sir, customer is not buying, do consumer offer. Sir, sale is not happening, reduce price, give ATB, do this. What are we doing? We are not going to the root cause of the problem remains. We've just got a band-aid solution. So learn the art of framing the right question. If you don't have this, you are at a disadvantage. Let's come to the next one. This is many of you would have visited Tata Motors, right? In Tata yes, sir. In Tata Motors, in the factory, there is a lake. But that's not the story. The story is very simple. When Tata Motors was set up by Mr. Mulgaonkar, I think he is a legend. I'm mighty proud of him. I just had the privilege of, like you see Amitabh Bachchan from a distance, I saw him from a few feet, and I think it was my privilege to see him. When Tata Motors was formed, they let their affluent into the stream which is running next to Tata Motors. One day, many villagers came knocking on the Tata Motors gate and doing that hartal, saying that the affluent that was let into the stream was poisonous. Our cattle drank that water and they are dead. If you were Tata Motors, what would you do? Let's assume you ran a manufacturing plant. The affluent were let out into the stream. The villagers' cattle drank that water, they died, and they have come to you. What would you do? What would you do? And then I will tell you what happened. If it was your manufacturing plant, you let out affluent, and people came and said, my animals are dead, what would you do? Yes, sir? Sorry? But when a patient is in ICU, then he will not listen what got him into ICU. He wants a solution. Compassionate, not empathetic. Empathy is a wrong word. Empathy means I feel bad for you. Compassion means I not only feel bad but act on that feeling. So you need to be compassionate, not just empathetic. Now let's come to here. So just hearing this will not solve the problem. How will you solve the problem? Can I just share this with you? The first thing they did, sir, was to solve the problem is they accepted the thing. You guys are saying, right, this is the compensation. Then what did they do? They went and found out that yes, indeed affluent maybe, and this I am not sure, was getting into that because they had released it, but was not of good quality. So they brought additional equipment to make sure that affluent was going, that was up to the standard. This is what all of us will do.
No, the testing the water.
Yeah, they tested. Yes, they tested the water and then they released it.
Not release. That water is dirty. That's the tested and then to come. What is the happens in that?
Yes.
Where it is come.
So they have identified all that, put equipment, everything. Now what will you do? This is where everybody will stop the problem.
Water for all.
Sorry?
Develop the quality of water for all.
So they developed it, like Singapore is called new water now. So what they did was a bit different. Yes, and that's what they did, but in a different way. What they did exactly, Nathan, was this. What they did was they put all the equipment to make this water like Singapore, you know, they call it new water. And now what they said is this water will not go to the outside. There is a lake here in which this will be released. But the solution did not end there. And they said, if any one of you have been to Pune, there is a wonderful guest house. It can rival anything in Switzerland. Every month, the senior most directors and the company people would meet there to review the business of the company sitting in this lake itself. And what was served to them? Fishes that were caught from this river were served. Now do you think there will be an error or there will be absolutely no error? When your skin is in the game, when the skin is in the game, then you will make sure that nothing goes wrong. And this is just as an example. So when you solve a problem, do you solve the problem so that it doesn't affect, or do you put your skin in the game? And this is just one of the ways. There are various ways to solve problem, okay, but this is one of the ways. Now let's come to Tesla. Mr. Kamli did not. Why has Tesla become the world's most valuable company? Pollution. But can you put a framework on it? Because pollution is drawing room conversation. In business, you cannot make such claims. Pollution, sustainability, what is the business model which you and me can apply today, right now, to test whether your business can survive tomorrow? Can I share that with you? This is some way my contribution, I can say. It's called value migration. If you see here, value was, when I was young, we just wanted to be transported in the cheapest manner possible. BST buses were 5 paisa a ticket. Cheapest, get transported. But what about our children? What about the young generation? My son, he is 31-year-old. He says, I don't want to be transported, I want clean transportation. So what has happened? The value has migrated from transportation to clean transportation. Where are the traditional automobile manufacturers operating? They are operating where the value was, making IC cars. The value has migrated to clean transportation. So why is Tesla the world's most valuable company? Because it is operating where the value has migrated, whereas everybody else is operating where the value was. Let's come to you. Are you operating where the value was, or are you operating where the value has migrated? I can give another example of Baba Ramdev. The year was 2012 and I had the privilege of meeting him. That time his company's turnover, if I remember right, was 500 crores. He knew I was from business and he asked me, in Hindi he said, I am launching Dant Kanti, the toothpaste brand. He asked me, what do you think? General, open-ended question. I said, sir, Baba, it will do well. He asked me, why? I said, Baba, I will explain to you in a business model, but English, I can't. He says, Bataiye aap. I said, in Hindi. So, okay. So I said, you call anybody in this room, or you call any of your bhakts, disciple, ask them, do you want a chemical toothpaste or do you want a natural toothpaste? People said, we want natural toothpaste. So I told him the value in Hindi, the value for toothpaste has migrated from chemical to natural. Whereas all companies in India are operating where the value was, but you are operating with Dant Kanti where the value has migrated. And then I said, you haven't stopped there, Baba, you have gone one step higher. You are launching an Ayurvedic toothpaste which is one level higher than natural. Natural is only natural. Ayurvedic is, it's got medicine which will actually repair your gums and teeth. So you are not only operating where the value has migrated, you have gone one level higher. So you will crack the market. This was my prediction. And you know what happened. It's very simple. Ask yourself a question and do this graph. Are you operating where the value was or where the value has migrated? You will know the answer. If you are operating where the value was, man, I think you required some issues. But start operating where the value has migrated. Yeah.
Baba has started this journey ahead of the time,
Hmm.
and all efforts.
Can I ask the can you ask the question right in the end, because it will disturb.
Not a question. I'm just adding what you said. Is the value change is he started long before putting all the yogas and all. Then all the emotion has started.
I'll just give you a different take on this, slightly different, but build on what you have said. Just to tell you, just a deviation. Baba Ramdev may look traditional, but he is the only person who has used new age communication channel to build brand. Now he started advertising, but he used 4 things: buzz, PR, event, and digital media. Right? Yeah, those were events. Right? Now I will just skip this. So what is smart problem solving? The business world is littered with problems. Smart problem solving skill arms you with perspective, tools, techniques and framework to come up with smart solution. Now if you only do problem solving, you need to do smart problem solving. Next question. So I'll just take this example of the recent recent T20 India versus Pakistan. Who scored the winning runs? Hardik Pandya. Sir, where did Hardik Pandya get that style of batting? Very good, sir. Please tell me, sir. Please build on it. So there are many Rajesh. One, I have seen at least third. Rajesh, please build on MS Dhoni. Can I just share this? Hardik Pandya has gone on record to say that he learned through observing MS Dhoni. Is that right? Yes. And that is called learning through observation. We won, our pride was restored because he learned through observation. And one of the things that I wish to bring here is, which is called lifelong learner. Today, every single skill, every single knowledge that you have comes with an expiry date. When I passed out from IIM Bangalore, our professor said customer is God. It held true for 30 years. But today, as we said, customer is not God. So everything that you learn comes with an expiry date. And if you continue to use expired soap, your skin will have rashes. And your career might have rashes. So please keep on upgrading and be a lifelong learner. And let me just share this with you. Mr. Kamli mentioned about Mr. Godrej. Godrej. I had the privilege of requesting Mr. Adi Godrej to give an advance praise for my first book, The New Rules of Business, which is now long listed to be the best business book. All great people I've seen, he responded back immediately within 20 minutes saying he can't because he was preoccupied. Finally, when the book was published, I sent a message to him saying, sir, I would like to present a copy to you. Immediately, secretary wrote back, Mr. Godrej will love to receive a copy of your book. And I went to Vikroli, Godrej 1. Like a gentleman, when I entered, he got up. I greeted him, I presented the book, and I said, sir, photograph. He requested somebody to take a photograph, and after that, general courtesies, will you have tea? I said, yes, Mr. Godrej, I'll have tea because that will give me an opportunity to spend time with him. When I sat down, tea was asked for, and then I asked him, sir, can you tell your life lesson which we should follow? What do you think Mr. Godrej would have told me? What is your life biggest lesson that you want us to follow? Yes, he says never stop learning. He was 77 years. This is about 2 years back. Never stop learning. And what about us? After we complete our degree and we get our job, those days are gone. Every day we have to be a student and remember that famous proverb, when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. Be a lifelong learner. If you are not, then you have outdated skill, which is again like using outdated soap. It will cause you rashes on your career. Okay. So I was doing a workshop for a company. Whenever I call this company, people, because I wanted to understand what is your problem, then only can I solve the problem during the workshop. But whenever I called the company, I was told, sir, in a meeting, please can I call you back, and the call never came. Their intention was honorable, but they were very busy. And I looked at them and I thought to myself, what is 21st century's most important skill? Time and attention. And I felt that their time and attention was not in their control. Now, if I told them, hey guys, you professionals need to have time and attention under your control, otherwise you are dead meat, they would have taken offense. So what did I do? Once the workshop got over, I narrated a Zen story to them. I said, guys, you know what? There was this young man who was astride a horse, and the horse was galloping at top speed. As the galloping horse with this man, young man on top, turned a corner, and old uncle sitting in the corner asked this young man, where are you going? So this young man said, uncle, don't ask me, ask the horse. And they all started laughing. I said, why? He says, sir, we got the message. What technique have I used here to communicate a message? Storytelling. Narration and storytelling. Now, if you communicate, it's a bad idea. But if you do storytelling, your effectiveness will be million times more. Do you know why? Sorry, sir? Yes, relate is one, but that's really not the scientific answer. Yes, sir, but why? No, you see, the problem with you is you know all the answers, but you don't know the background, and that I think you need to work on, which is called, can I just say, sir, use you as an example? Can I use this? You know, Navi Mumbai is here. So I was doing a workshop for one of these multinational companies, and I asked these guys, participant, you know, flamingos come every year. How many of you know flamingos come? Everybody put up their hand. Okay, everybody put up. Why do flamingos come, sir? Is climate change? It was happening before climate change. Breeding, right? So here, many people could not answer, and I said the difference is that you know but you don't understand. In life, we know many things but we don't understand, and if we don't understand, is absolutely nothing. So one thing that I would request you is just don't know things, understand. Creativity. What is creativity? I know what is creativity, but do you understand or know creativity? Innovation. Oh, I know what is innovation. Do you know or do you understand? Knowing and understanding, the difference is between Hardik Pandya winning for India and losing. Second thing, so one is communicating bad news, or, so sir, can I just answer this question, why storytelling? This printing press is invented maybe what? 70, 80 years back, 100 years back, 200 years back, but we have been in existence for thousands of years. How did the knowledge get transferred across generation? Through prayers, hymns, oral, stories. So our DNA, we are programmed to listen, retain, understand and act on stories much better than on information. It's based on the working of the human brain. So from now on, stop communicating and start, but don't tell stories like मतलब जनता को घुमाना नहीं है, right? Sorry, please, हाँ, boss को घुमाना नहीं है, right? Sorry, sorry. हाँ, बकवास नहीं. You have to tell story so that you can effectively make your point. So what is storytelling? Storytelling is the most powerful way of putting your ideas into the world. If you have any doubts, please let me know at the end. I can share. Can I just give you one simple example? I'll narrate the same thing in two ways. A, the master died and his pet Alsatian died shortly thereafter. The master died, his pet Alsatian died shortly thereafter. This is A. B, the master died and the Alsatian died heartbroken. Which one do you like, A or B? B. Why? Emotion. So storytelling goes where factual data cannot enter, which is your heart. This is a story. I mean, you know Dr. Vijay Mallya, so this is, I'll just share with you, and then I'll ask you. So the year was 1993. It was Bangalore, and we wanted to make Bagpiper the world's largest selling brand of blended Scotch whisky. It had become India's largest. We wanted to make Bagpiper the world's largest brand of blended Scotch whisky. That time it required, I'm just giving you a figure, 200 crore. The year is 1993. Now with inflation, you can say it is about 7,000, 8,000 odd crore. So I went and told my boss, sir, we want to make Bagpiper the world's largest. He says, so what is required? I said, sir, 200 crore. So he says, that's not in my authority. You'll have to go to the chairman, Dr. Vijay Mallya. I said, sir, we'll go to him. He says, you think he'll give you? I said, sir, he should. He looked at me saying, what do you mean he should? Will he? I said, I think he will. He says, you know what? He has many other ways to spend 200 crores than giving it to you and making a punt on somebody like we will make it the world's largest. I said, sir, give me a chance. Now, if you were in my position and you had to sell, get 200 crore, I mean, I'm saying out of Dr. Vijay Mallya because I did it specifically for him, what would you do? Sell the vision. So I'm selling you the vision. You be Dr. Mallya. Sir, we will make Bagpiper the world's largest brand of blended Scotch whisky. Then give me 200 crores. Can I just share with you what I did? This was in Oberoi at MG Road. Dr. Mallya was sitting much like Nitin, and the board was sitting just behind here. Make him imagine, imagination. He was sitting here and I was here. That time there was no PPT, it was a carousel tray. And I looked at him. I said, Dr. Mallya, we will make Bagpiper the world's largest selling brand of blended Scotch whisky. And I looked at him. He was doodling. He was wearing, those slip-ons. His feet was out of the shoes. He was doodling. He didn't even look at me. And I looked at my boss and his expression was, Gay. I looked at this. And I looked at Dr. Mallya, and again with Dr. Mallya, we will make Bagpiper the world's largest selling brand of blended Scotch whisky. Do you know what will happen to you? Now, because I challenged him, he just looked up and with his eyebrow, he said, sir, the next slide was Time magazine with his cover, with his picture on the cover, Vijay Mallya, man behind the world's largest selling brand of blended Scotch whisky. The entire board started clapping. He turned a bit purplish because of his complexion. He kept on looking at this picture, and after maybe 40 seconds, he asked me, do you think it can happen? I said, yes, sir. What do we have to do? I said, sir, only. Now, following the protocol, he looked at his president. His name was Mr. S.S. Gandhi. He says, his name was Surinder Gandhi. He says, Surinder, what do you think? Now, what do you think the president will say? Sir, we will make it happen. Now, what technique have I used here? Sorry? No, but tell me the business model which you can use. And like Mr. Kamli said, don't misuse this. What is the business model that I've used? I've used the working of your human brain. Can I share that with you how? Your human brain, gender insensitive, has 3 layers: limbic, extended limbic, and neocortex. Limbic is where your emotions reside. Extended limbic is where your behavior resides. And neocortex is the new part where rational thinking resides. Now, if you have to influence people over whom you have no authority, then you have to ask a rhetorical question, whose answer is always yes. So, what was my question to Dr. Malia? Sir, do you want to be on the magazine, do you want to be on the cover of Time magazine? What was his answer? Yes. So, when I asked a question that was in his interest, it touched his emotion, and the moment he said yes, his behavior towards me changed, and then he asked me the most obvious question, so what do I have to do, sir? That I don't know. Yeah, but the point is, it will take 7 years. The year was 93, and you have to have. I had a plan that if you go back to this, if you see, the strategy was what? By the time the century rolls over, 7 years was the plan, right? Now, what have I done? I have used the strategy of how the human brain works. This is called influencing people over whom you have no authority. There are several ways in which you can do it. This is one of the ways, right? Now, if you cannot influence, like take me, I have no authority over you, but have I been able to influence you? And what is the technique that I have used? I have used this technique. This is not my model, this is Harvard Business Model. What have I done? What have I done? First, as soon as I came, I told you the name signature I gave, bagpiper we made it, I created the deodorant category, I am from IIT, IIM. So, on the competency, I tried to score high points. Then during the course of the conversation, what did I do? I tried to be warm, nice person. Please can I answer, please do this. When you score high on competence and high on warmth, you are admired. And if I stay with you for another week and I continue to be competent and high on warmth, from admiration it will go to respect and over a period to trust. And when you earn somebody's trust, then you can influence them. So trust is very, very important. So influence without authority is, it will enable you to bring others to your way of thinking, motivate them to support your initiative and adopt your ideas of their own free will. This will get you noticed, get you promoted and help you rise in life. This is a Tata story, Jamshedpur. They changed it, right? So just for everybody, Rusi Modi, a legend, he was taking a town hall meeting, now we call it town hall, that time he called it something else. He asked his worker, what is the biggest problem? So many workers said, sir, there is a officer's bathroom and there is worker's bathroom. Our bathroom is always dirty, their officer's bathroom is always clean. So he asked his HR person, how long will it take for you to get the worker's bathroom up to the standard of officer? They said 3 weeks. So Rusi Modi said, come, call a carpenter. He called the carpenter and changed so officers pay he put workers and workers ka he put officers. Now he said, how many days will it take? 1 hour. He said 1 hour, correct sir. He said 1 hour. Now what is this called? This is called humaneness. In humaneness, you kick up and kiss down. And let me give you the other story of J.R.D. Tata, a real story. He was the chairman of Taj Hotel. 2 employees were suspected of having committed a theft. A report was generated and it came out that they had done this robbery. So the report was presented to J.R.D. Tata. He looked at it and he says, based on the evidence, please sack them. The moment he said it, he looked at his HR person and said, go and find out if in their family they have school going or college going children. And if they have, then Taj Hotel or Tata will take the entire financial burden for their entire education. Why penalize the children for the wrongdoing of their parents? That's called humaneness. Now, when you look at your workers, do you look at them as an asset to sweat your asset, or do you look upon them as human beings? Be humane. Humaneness is, and this is where the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, it is leading to proliferation of thinking job that requires people to be engaged and motivated at work. The traditional way of motivating people by carrot and stick approach and through financial incentives are proving ineffective. The new approach requires the adoption of people first policy which view people as humans who must be treated with humaneness. This approach has the potential of unlocking the unlimited potential of people to give their best. And the last skill, entrepreneurial spirit. What do you think is the difference between an entrepreneur like Mr. Mukesh Ambani and rest of us? So this question, let me just share with you. Professor C.K. Prahlad, he was on the board of Unilever. So one day, the rule was that these independent directors, they would go and meet the high flyers. So I will not get into the name, but he went and met one of the high flyers who said, I am very unhappy because nobody seems to work here, right? Only I work. So C.K. Prahlad said, oh, you work like an entrepreneur. He says, sir, I work, but others are professionals. So then he says, do you know what is the difference between an entrepreneur and a professional? He says, no, sir. Then he wrote this A and R. Anyone? What is A and R? He wrote this, C.K. Prahlad, on the board. This gentleman did not know. He says, now can you, so then he did something and he says, what is a professional manager? A stands for aspiration, R stands for resource. For a professional manager, the aspiration will magically equal to the resources that the company has or it will be less. And for an entrepreneur, he will have not a single penny in his pocket. He will not have a single penny in his pocket, but his aspiration will be to touch the moon. And that is the difference between an entrepreneur and a professional. Now, don't look at entrepreneur as people who do startups. This is called the entrepreneurial spirit. What is entrepreneurial spirit? It is a spirit which makes us, no matter what the resource is, we should never let the resource constrain our aspiration. And every one of us today have to work with an entrepreneurial spirit where we don't look at the resource, we look at the aspiration, right? So entrepreneurial spirit is an intangible energy which inspires people to have aspiration greater than the resource at their disposal. When this spirit is alive, business keeps their mojo and maintain their edge. So these are the 10 skills that I shared with you. With them, you can soar. Without them, you will be at a disadvantage. But more than you, our children need to acquire this. So tomorrow, when you read this book, please make sure that the drawing room conversation centers around these 10 skills. And you have to read them because you have to lead the conversation and you have to inspire interest in all this. And I come from alcohol, so whatever product you create, you have to believe in it. I genuinely believe it's the best book on skills in the world. You can read it and let me know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really thank you. Thank you.
Any questions that you may have? Yes, there is somebody right there. Could you take a mic across to him, please? There, in the corner.
It's not my idea, it is somebody else's idea, it is Jeff Bezos' idea. He says day one. Always have day one spirit in you. You can, Vignesh, my student is there. You can check with him. The passion with which I taught in the class is 10 years. I still have that same passion. Let me give you another example. In IIM Indore, my course on brand management was very popular and 210 students signed up for it. 210 students signed up for it. And in IIM, there's a constraint, you can't have more than 70 students in a class. So there were 3 sections. And the second constraint is that all the 3 sections have to know the same thing. You can't have A knowing something B. So it was like repeat telecast. From 8:30 to 12 o'clock, my 3 sessions, one after the other. So there was head of department called Professor, I forget her name. I'll just remember, I just forgot. So she said, Savita Mahapatra, her name. She's still there in IIM Indore. She said, sir, I want to sit in your class. She sat. It was the last class. And she looked at me and she said after the class, "Sir, your passion is still the same even in the 3rd class. Why are you so passionate?" I looked at her and I said, "See, I have only 10 years to live. But if I can transfer this knowledge to my students, then through them, I can live for another 50 years. Because, madam, my mission in life is to leave India in a better shape than I found it in." And sir, to answer your question, passion will not come because it gives you more money. Passion will come when you have a higher purpose in life. Here, I am not making any money. So why am I telling you all this? I care for my country. I care for you. Because if you guys can take this passion and increase your business, the GDP of the country will go up. When your company becomes better, people working in your company will get higher salary, higher incentive. And more than that, the children of that family can go to a better school. And let me give you this last example I witnessed. I created Signature and many other brands. It did not excite me. What really touched my life were 2 incidents. Once a brand manager, an area manager from Ambala, I went to visit Ambala, the market. He says, in north, it's a very expensive style. Sir, aaj shaam ka chai aap hamare ghar piyenge. In north, that's a style of speaking. He says, of course I'll come. Today evening tea you will have in my house. I said, yes. When I went to his house, I had turned J.K. Helene Curtis. Because I had turned the company, salary had gone up, incentive had gone up, stability had come in the company. So when I went to his house, small garden, drawing room, curtain. So when I entered his house, he says, "Sir, please sit." He went behind the curtain. I thought to tell his wife to make tea. So I was sitting and the curtain parted and a lady came. She was wearing a white sari and ghungat. You know what it signifies? Right? White sari and ghungat. She came in, she didn't even look at me, but with folded hands, first I'll tell you in Hindi, then English. With folded hands, she said, "मैं आपका धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि आज आपके चलते हमारे बच्चे अच्छे स्कूल में जाते हैं." Saying this, she turned and left the room. That day I discovered meaning and purpose in what I do. In English, she looked at me with folded hand and said, "I want to thank you. Because of you, our children are going to a better school." And she left. When you have this higher purpose in life, when you have this higher mission, like Apple has, right? You know what is the mission of Apple? The mission of Apple, anyone? Is to enrich our life. If this is iPhone, has iPhone enriched your life? That is their mission. So if you want to maintain your passion, have a higher purpose on life, which is just more than making money, and don't run after 3 things: money, popularity and beauty. Beauty is not women, just trying to look beautiful. Money, popularity and beauty, and you will always have a higher mission. Yes, sir. You'll require a mic. Sir, have I answered your question? Thank you, sir.
I'm not remembering President of America, but an American president went there space center.
Yes.
And asked a person who was cleaning the room on that time, "What you are doing?" Then he answered, "I am supporting my scientists to send a rocket in space."
Can I just build on it, sir? Can I just build on it? Can I just build on this? And sir, please remember, this is a very powerful story. This is a real story. The president was John F. Kennedy and the location was NASA. It is said that one day John F. Kennedy was visiting NASA center. It was 10 o'clock. And there was a janitor who was sweeping the room. So the president looked at this janitor and said, "Janitor, isn't it too late, so late that you are working? You are working so hard?" He looked at the president and said, "Mr. President, I am not a janitor sweeping the room. I am helping to put a man on the moon." Right? And can I just give you the second example, which is more, thank you, sir, for reminding me. A research was done by US University in NASA. As you said, Mr. Kamli, that there were circuit boards that were used for the Apollo mission that went up. So people, all of you are engineers, you are making circuit boards. So people were asked what job you were doing. 3 types of response came. Some people said we are making a circuit board. Some people said that we are putting a man on moon. And the rest of the people said we are working for advancement of science. Same job, engineers working in NASA, everyone asked this question, so what are you doing? Some said we are making circuit board. Another set of people said we are putting a man on the moon, and another set of people said we are working for advancement of science. Who do you think worked the most? The C people. And sir, to answer your question, your boss will never give you the higher purpose. It is you who have to discover a higher purpose. In your job, do you just look upon it as doing a job, or are you looking upon it as a higher purpose? That you have to identify. Yes.
Thank you, Professor. I think it was fascinating listening to you in a very easy to understand language and these 10 life-changing skills. So there is no question but to thank you for giving each one of us this copy. And I promise I'll read it, share it with my daughter so that the next generation learns from it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Please do it. It's not about this book. It is about future preparing our children. More than us, they require it. Believe me. Believe
One more book, if I may recommend, using this forum, one more book, if I may recommend. It is by John Doerr, and that's the book called Speed and Scale. And that's the book which is talking about the urgent need for doing something for saving the planet. So I'm just trying to look this book almost same level or even higher. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I'm sorry, please.
How do we motivate our employees through failure stories and ask to celebrate the failures?
How do I motivate my employees through stories?
Failure stories.
Oh, failure story. There are enough number of failure story. Failure make you, so please remember, this is the new thing that can I just share this with you? When I was in IIM Bangalore, I was told that when you become a leader, you should have all the answer. But when I became the CEO, I discovered many answers I did not know. And what did I tell everybody? Yeah, listen, I don't have an answer. Does anyone else have an answer? And you do not know when India works as a team what India can become. That is the first thing. Talking about failures. What do I tell people? I don't have that slide here, but I said, please listen to me, not because I am more successful, but because I have more failures. And let me tell you, Mr. Kamli has been to Silicon Valley. If you ever go to Silicon Valley, they wear their failure as a badge. I failed 4 times, I failed 6 times, and the guy who failed 6 times gets the highest job. You listen to Virat Kohli, what does he say? Success only gives you an ego, but failure is the best teacher, right? And I can tell you how many examples of failure I have shared, because it tells people that my boss is humane, even he fails. And next thing that I do, more than how do you encourage people with failure, what has Jeff Bezos said? If you want to increase the rate of invention, double the failure rate. Now just saying it does not work. What I did was institute a prize for failure. So at the end of every month, we encourage people to take risk, and if they failed, we took the biggest failure, asked them to come here and say what were their objective, what did they do, why did they fail, what lesson they learned, and the guy who failed the biggest and who had the biggest lesson, he was awarded. So we actually made failure into a badge. This is out of Silicon Valley, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I overshot the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely worth it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.